What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to The Climb. I am your host, X-Ray. Joining me once again, Mr. Brissy. How you doing, sir?
Hello. Hello,
Missed,
hello, 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 hello,
mi-
hello.
missed, missed you last week. Had a bad appointment,
Yes,
but
yes. I'm back to do content. I love doing content. I
yep.
love being on camera.
And joining us this week, a mysterious man who has finally gotten a camera, Mr. Gar.
Hi. New camera,
New
looking good.
camera, new camera. Let's go. He doesn't have to use his phone anymore.
True, dude. My freaking battery was draining when I had to do that. But no, I got a new webcam.
Let's go,
If
poggers.
someone watched my Blue Water stream, then you would have saw the sneak peek there.
Nice,
Uh,
very
Also the
nice.
Summit stream.
True, you're so right.
Summit stream. I saw the new webcam. I actually
Yeah.
at first I actually thought it was your phone, and you just like hanged it on the like your
Nah, this thing
monitor.
ain't got no freaking grip for
Yeah, but yeah.
Speaking of grip, just kidding. Keep going.
Hey. Oh.
Anyways, we all know who Gar Goomba is, legend in the Summit channel and everything like that. He's been on a couple content pieces as well, a couple on the climb, and he did one Power Rankings episode this season. So
True.
excited to have him back and give us hot takes and all that kind of stuff. But with that, I'd say we get into the first week of playoffs. Quarterfinals is officially over, and a couple good games. They all went 3-1, besides the one FF game. So we'll talk about just the quick FF real quick. I'm legally obligated to say this. Unfortunate circumstances led to TG deciding to FF, and that's where we will leave it.
Verbatim.
Verbatim. Thank you, Mr. Gamer D, for typing that message out. Moving on, though. Moving on to our first series we're going to talk about, Elo Surfers versus Summit Admins. So game one, Gumby. I'm going to be honest. He had 5 bans in the first 3 games, which was great.
Justified.
Yeah, justified.
Yeah, no, that's justified.
but it just didn't matter because he still just popped off every single game, I'm pretty sure. So game one, game looked close on paper, but Elo just had a really good late game comp. Gumby was on a Victor, and I have played against it. It is quite scary because he goes like phase rush into a Q max, and he just runs at Mach 5 and is faster than Hecarim at full charge, which is quite scary. Soulpan was deathless on the Skarner, so really good job by him. And I think this just came down to just really good macro by Elo Surfers. Really good objective control. Just really good all around. SA would just like pretty much flood to one side of the map, like just all go to bot lane or top lane or something like that, and Elo took full advantage of that and made plays on the other side of the map, and were able to get a lot of towers, objectives, and just doing a really good job about moving around the map. Game 2, I don't think this game was very close at all. Pretty much just a split map. Elo got 6 scrubs and Herald. SA got 3 dragons, but Elo had been winning all the team fights previously. So, I mean, it was just Elo favored all the way through. I think Salmon Admins just had a poor team comp into Elo's draft. I don't have the draft up right now, but it was not super great. You really only have 2 engage tools for the side of Summit Admins, which was Frost hitting a tornado with Yasuo or Wand Cake hitting a belly bump. And it's not that I don't think it was like terrible. I just don't think it's Summit Admins, because Wand Cake, well, yes, I think his Gragas was great and everything like that, but the problem is he is like the primary carry on his team, and when he's playing Gragas, he's not going to be 1v9ing fights. When he played the Imbessa and looked really good on it, just bad macro, I think. But overall, I think Cake just needs to play more of those carry style champs, and they would have had some success. Game 3, still 5 bans, but Kane mid lane was Gumby's choice this game. It was
That was a
very,
fun one.
very interesting. I was like, I don't know how to feel about it. But Frost did a really good job at punishing it. He was like 4-0 and 3, I think, going into like 15 minutes or something like that. So he just was creating a really big lead. Summit Admins striking back at Elo that he got the win. Really good early game for Summit Admins. Bit rough for the mid game. And Elo came back just a little bit, but not enough. And then Summit Admins, they picked off ISO and Gamer D to be able to end the game. So really well done. And then finally, game 4. And there's not really much to talk about this one, I'll be honest. Gumby got his signature Talon pick.
Yeah.
And
I'm okay.
the one thing I do want to note about Game 4 specifically is, so they 2-banned Gumby, first 2 bans, and then they, instead of banning, I can't remember who their third pick had been the whole series, they'd banned Echo Zed, and I think it would have been Talon, I think. But they actually banned Skarner. And while I think it's actually a good ban, because if Skarner was prioritized in the majority of games, it was picked every single game. So I think it was a good ban. But I don't think Echo was the correct ban for Gumby. I think Zed Talon is better, but maybe they were thinking Echo is scarier into their team comp, and I understand that. But yeah, I mean, nothing too crazy. Wancake, his selection choice to counter Mordekaiser was not great. ISO blind Mord, ask Gar about that, and then he picks Fiora.
I can't believe you said that right now.
Hey, listen, I gotta bring it up sometimes. But honestly, like, he blinded Mord, and then Wancake picked Fiora, and it was a terrible matchup for Fiora. So I can understand like his thought process of like picking the parry and everything like that, but it's like, I don't think you ever win that, and he did not play well. Wancake did not play super great. He was like 1-6, I think, but by the end of the game, so not playing great. And yeah, I mean, Eel Surfers moving on to semis. Really excited to see what they're gonna do. Rookies and Cream. I mean, their last 2 series were FF, so we'll see how they look. Because I mean, we haven't seen them in 3 weeks at this point, so hopefully they've been practicing. But we'll definitely see. And I'm gonna send it over to Mr. Gar.
Alrighty. I will kind of talk briefly about the whole Phase Rush Victor thing. Going off of their draft, we have Aurora mid, or Frost playing Aurora mid against Victor, and they also know that they're going to be playing against Mbessa and Seraphine. So at the very least, the Phase Rush here helps him kite out all of these damage threats, because like if someone gets on top of Victor, he's kind of screwed. Even with the really bad W that people like to complain about, but that's besides the point. The whole thing is Phase Rush helps him kite out of Aurora ulti, which is kind of the big thing that catches everyone in this team, and it lets him play around the Corki and Seraphine a lot safer. So yeah, the whole Phase Rush Qmax thing, perfectly valid. This definitely was a mostly Sulpan and Giuseppe centered game, especially the Sulpan just being able to play around the map super well with Skarner.
Mm-hmm.
I will agree, and Jason will probably talk more about it on the power rankings, but it didn't really feel like Giuseppe was doing a crazy amount with the lead he had, but that also just means that like the enemy bot lane wasn't really that threatening at all for him to poke out. So damage charts aside, I think he did fine for what he had. It's just probably wasn't as overbearing as people might think.
Well, and I think the other thing you got to think about is these Elo and some admins have pretty similar team comps when you think about it. They have really good top side / mid lane, and solid top mid whatever, and then good junglers. And then you look at bot lane, and they're just kind of there, sort of thing. So
I get that.
they're not playing for bot lane essentially, and neither team was. So it's basically whoever's
Yeah.
bot lane I think played better. I think won the game.
That's fair. I think it's also just difficult for Corki to ever play against, Skarner Singe when they just run at him.
Right.
But that's besides the point. Game two, I will be honest, the two highlights I remember are VLN being an absolute menace in the Jason's stream while draft was happening.
It fucking
I can post
Can
a
I
link.
quote? Can I quote
Yeah,
a
quote it.
VLN message?
Yeah.
I'm going to I'm gonna Giuseppe break Giuseppe. Okay. I'm going. Okay, I can't even quote it. I have to go find the quote. Hold on. You keep talking while I find it.
He's gonna find the quote.
Yeah, so while we wait for the VLN thing, I will say the funniest part was watching the 1v1 early game between One Cake and Isodidact, because there were so many like low HP misplays happening between the both of them, because both of them just heal when they fight, and both of them also have their own like dashes and get out tools. So just watching this like absolute slap fest between like a big tree and a big dude was just super entertaining to me. But this was another case of Sulpan doing his work around the map, and thanks to Gumby, who was piloting Aurora much more proficiently than Frost. Not to say Frost did bad, it's just Gumby has way more like mechanical knowledge of the champion.
Right.
It was just a complete wipe. Uh, Going over game three, I think that was also pretty fun to watch, even though Frost finally got himself online compared to the rest of the games, because I think it's considering how Gumby is basically number one, number two mid lane to some people. Usually Frost is known for hitting pretty hard down as well as somewhat punching up. Like, it was super difficult for him to be able to do anything against the mostly undisputed number one mid laner. So finally seeing him get a very substantial lead early and actually, carrying with it was a very nice change. Now, granted, there were a lot of things around the map that happened in game three that almost went for another Elo Surfers win. Uh, just like really odd back timers from certain people, as well as just a lot of fights that didn't happen, led to Summon admins finally clenching this game out. But it was just, it could have been pulled off better. You
Yeah.
know?
The Elo almost came back in that game, which was very scary.
Like I'm like 70% certain this was their like screw off game, and they almost won their screw off game. So, it goes to show like how strong Elo surfers are this season. So we'll see what happens in quarterfinals, but that's kind of the whole scenario with there. I don't really want to talk about game four just because they thought they could counter his Talon, and it turns out Talon kind of gaps all of them.
Yeah. That I literally just remember Talon just walking to Frost, and Frost is like, "Oh, I'm at 80% HP. I'm chilling." Gumby pops ultimate, fucking Q's onto him, ignites, procs bleed, auto attacks, and Frost is just dead.
Dude knows his damage threshold
Yeah.
so well, it's ridiculous.
Okay, I found it.
All right,
I
Brissy.
found it.
Let's hear that VLN quote.
I am going to break Giuseppe Hacks Giuseppe back. He also did a major chug on Jason's stream.
Dude, that was freaking wild.
He also hit the
Hit
woe.
the Kragas. Yeah.
I don't even know.
He got something.
The
already.
Kragas with the like the belly bump sort of
something
thing.
like
I'm
that.
pretty sure. I have to go back to actually see him do it, but he did something pretty similar.
Okay.
I don't know. Oh goodness.
VLN's a freaking menace, bro.
VLN is a menace.
Endless clips you'll find when you watch off non-official streams.
All right, Brissy, you got anything to say about this game?
Okay.
Or the series?
So, I didn't watch the series. I was on my PoE grind. But I will
True.
give a general thought behind both of these teams based off of the regular season and how they did in the first couple rounds of the first round of playoffs. Summit Admins, I think both of these teams were kind of opposites going into regular season. I think Summit Admins started off insanely strong and looked really good in the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season, and then gradually started to decline. And I think that Elo Surfers was a little bit the opposite. They had a kind of a rough go at it early in the season. I think, and no shade to Sulpan here, but I'm going to shade Sulpan here. Was not on solid ground in the jungle for the first few weeks, and you see now the combination of Sulpan and Gumby has looked insanely good. Especially when you give him, Skarner. The guy's been absolutely dominating games on that champion. But coming into this week of playoffs, I think it really showed how strong that combo is and how good Gumby's macro is. I think one of the formulas to winning in Summit is having one high elo player that is insanely good with macro calls, and a team around them that knows how to execute those macro calls. Just remnants of GPR last season with Never Saw's macro calls and how we were able to push through and make that crazy run. I think that Elo Surfers is on pace to do the same thing.
Nice.
Summit Admins, I love Tubby, I love Stran. I think that their bot lane decline is upsetting to see, and I wish that they would have been able to put on better performances later in the season to maybe get a better seeding, to allow themselves to, I don't know, have a better matchup in playoffs, but it is what it is. Shout out Elo Surfers, they are putting on.
Yeah, they sure are.
What are they putting on?
I don't know.
Don't worry, Gar. Don't worry about it. But yeah, I think with that, let's move on to our third game, Wawa Warriors versus Gar's first grade class. Only had the POVs of Gar and Jason. I'm also joined by two of the players on GFC. So, honestly, I think a lot of people were predicting Wawa to win this, and GFC.
Yeah, we were too. We were too.
GFC.
I had faith.
You know what? It's funny because I DM'd Jason before like 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, "Hey, do you beat Wawa Warriors?" And Jason said, "Yes." So I picked you guys in the predictions, and you guys didn't disappoint.
God bless.
Good.
You guys didn't disappoint, so I'm very happy. I'm still last. Don't worry, I'm still last in predictions, guys. But yeah, talk about the games real quick. I mean, very convincing win. So game one, really good plays around the map. Adolfo was out for game one, and they were replaced by Ploop Ploop Fish or
Blob Blob Fish.
Blob Blob Fish. Okay, I'm just gonna call him Fish. But his Skarner, that was good.
The Skarner was nice,
bro. It
was very good.
It was 3, 2, and 23. I was like, whoa, holy shit. That guy is popping off. And I think the other thing is, though, is like something that Wawa, I think, struggles into this team is their solo lanes, and that's something that they've known for a lot of the time. But Gar and Odysseus took really big advantage of this. Their solo lanes went 1 and 13 in this game. So they, Gar and Odysseus did really good in the mid and or early in mid game to just punish them really hard. Azul and Morn played super well, but just were unable to find the win. Game 2, Adolfo comes back. So we got the full team of GFC. Bot and top for Wawa, they like swap. They do like the pro swap, so the bot lane goes to top lane. But Gar and Brissy, you guys pulled off something pretty incredible. The 2v3 in the top lane dive. Brissy unfortunately dies, but Gar, you pick up 2 kills, which was crazy to me.
Yeah, I'll
Hell yeah,
talk about that
baby.
when we get to me. I'll talk a little bit about that game
That
specifically.
was,
There were some things that
and I listened to the comms, and you guys were like on point and played that super well. Then there was a TP by Odysseus to kind of help defend it. But ultimately, it just wasn't needed. Gar got pretty much the full wave, which was really good. Like, I just think overall, the swap just never really helped Wawa in the way they thought it was going to. Because meanwhile, in the bot lane, Jason is farming kills on Beartal and Scion, which is
You're
not great. Like, you're not supposed. That's not supposed to happen, sort of thing. And I just think you guys had really good teamwork, really good plays. You guys pulled off an upset basically.
Yep.
At no point would I say, "Oh man, they're winning the first 2 games," sort of thing. I thought you guys were gonna go to at least 5 games. But I was watching Jason's stream at the time, and I was like, "Holy shit, they're 2-0. How they're gonna go 3-0?" And you guys were gonna like pop my bubble of like, holy shit, these guys are the goats.
now we got the Brissy special game 3.
Nah, the game 3 when I talk about it, that game's my fault.
Honestly,
It's a couple people's fault. I'll take Charles and Jason out of the way on that one. I think game 3 was all on mine, Gar's, and Kittler's shoulders as far as why we lost.
I mean, game 3, really good cheeky level 1 on Baratel. I mean, Gar getting first blood. I was like, okay, Gar's got a lead. Let's see what he does with it. Gets a double kill in the mid lane, ghost, and flashes under mid tower to get 2 kills.
That was so freaking funny when that happened.
I was like, huh. Well, I mean, he didn't die and he got the job done, so I guess it works out. But yeah, early lead for GFC, but some bad team fights, people getting picked before objectives, just led to Wawa getting back into the game. And just after that, Wawa just had some really good team fights, really good spacing. Azrael did a really good job about spacing.
It's so hard to get on that guy. I mean, regardless of what our top lane pick was, I think even if Gar's on something a little bit more
was
backline,
was Sifro playing Lulu?
Milio.
Is Jinx?
Or Milio?
Yes.
Oh
Sifro's
my gosh!
Milio
Okay,
game
so
3.
here's the other thing: is the Seraphine pick I don't think is good, and it's not because I don't think Jason played it bad or anything like that. I just don't think it fits your guys' style of gameplay, sort of thing. You need Jason to be on a hard carry, sort of thing.
I think it was purely they had an insanely good counter comp for us. I think the Melio pick alone just completely mitigated any sort of shot we had at locking down Azrael.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's funny. It's funny you say that because I don't know if you know this, but in one of the team fights, Jason basically hits a 5-man ultimate, but
mid lane.
Milio's in the back, so all 4 of them are charmed, and he presses R literally at the last second. He's about to get hit by the Seraphine, presses R, immediately cleanses everyone, which was crazy to me. I was like, holy shit, he just saved that whole team fight, essentially.
Fun fact, I didn't realize Milio also gave tenacity.
Gives tenacity, it heals.
Really? I did not know that either.
Yeah, heals and cleanses.
Yeah, so I'll talk about it later.
Yeah, and just to wrap up, I mean, game 4, it was actually a fairly close game. But Gar,
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it, bro. Yeah, I already know what's coming. I don't want to talk about it.
Listen. I mean, I solo bowled you. No one expected that. Cool, whatever. But Baratel, he soloed you, solo bowled you. Tell me about it. Tell me about it, pal. Never mind, he's not here. Anyways, Gar's washed.
What?
No, his Volibear was super good this game. Really good plays, really good job at taking. Honestly, I a lot of the times I was like, man, why is he not backing? And then he goes to start a camp and then just W's the camp like 3 times and just heals. Like, oh, okay, he doesn't need to back anymore.
Dude, this champ is so dumb, man. I don't know why other people aren't playing it.
And then other than that, I don't really have a whole lot. I mean, Odysseus popped off. He had a really good Ari game, so props to him.
He had a good series altogether. I
yeah.
think he was a huge reason why we won majority of those games.
All right, who wants to start?
Chrissy should start since I started the last one.
All right,
I'll start.
Brissy. Let's hear your thoughts on the series.
So again, we got the Brissy special in a few of those games where you play really bad in lane, you give the opponent a really big lead, and then you make one good play that kind of saves everything. I think I single-handedly won us game 1, just based off of that last stun I got on the Varus right at a base. Because like
True.
we had just gotten Baron. We were like, okay, well, we got a couple inhibs already. We just need to push down and kind of force onto this Varus while they're staggered.
Who'd you play game 1?
Poppy.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yep. Okay, now I'm following now.
And so, early game, I hadn't played a league game in 6 days. This first game was my first game back in like a week.
You sound like an addict.
Dude, PoE, man, that's a great game. But, okay. So, yeah, we gave away an extremely big lead to Astral early. I think he was like 6-0 by 12 minutes, maybe even 10 minutes, I'm not sure.
He was like 5-0 at like by the time Herald
Yeah.
spawned.
Yeah, but I mean, like you talked about earlier, Charles and Gar had insane leads in solo lanes, and that really allowed us to kind of play around them and not kind of put ourselves in too bad of a position to let Astral just completely hard carry. And I think in those instances when your solo lanes are doing really well, it doesn't really matter how fed the enemy ADC is if they can't, escape the destruction that was the top and mid. Game 2, that was my... What did I play game 2? Do you remember?
Lulu.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
you played
okay,
Lulu
yeah.
It's
with
the
the
Lulu,
Sivir.
So
Lulu and
that was
Vesa.
a roll swap. Okay, so this game in particular, I thought was insane. So they lane swapped. I immediately go top lane to match it, and then the next 6 minutes, I receive like 3 tower dives where only I die. Gar gets like 5 kills, and so all the gold is just being funneled into him, which makes him incredibly strong. And sure, I'm still level 4 at 8 minutes, but I mean, it is what it is. And then there were some later game instances where I think both Morn and Astral thought they had caught me out, but they kind of just inted trying to take me down. I think there was one in particular where we were starting Baron,
Oh, okay.
and the
yeah, I know
and the
what you're talking
Tristana jumps up on top of me. I polymorph her and then just walk to my team, and then she dies. So we get Baron for free. I think not long after that we were in their base. We took 2 inhibs and then eventually led to the end of the game. So yeah, I'm not really sure what they had out for me in that game in particular. And then game 3, you get the Brissy special. Play a pretty horrible early game. A couple decent plays, and then this one we lost because there was one moment in particular I think that just immediately turned the tides, and I mean we just lost so much gold off of that. Was me getting caught in the mid lane bush. Wasn't looking at my map at the time. Walked into the bush and there's 4 of them there. We die. We lose Dragon Soul, and then they end pretty much immediately. And then game 4. I think this was my Braum game.
Yep.
The early game actually wasn't too bad. I think when me and Jason are able to at least slow down Astral in getting that lead, I think that again allows for our solo laners to get a big enough lead where they can just run the game. But again, Charles, Ari, oh my goodness, the guy's so good at the game. There were a couple plays where I think that Wawa Warriors thought they had a fight, and then Charles just comes in, quadra kills, and the guy's just really good at the game. But
Yeah.
overall, great series. I'm very happy that we ended up pulling that one out because I was questioning my ability to step up in probably the hardest lane that me and Jason have had all season, to be honest.
Sure. All right, go. Let's hear it.
Okay. Game one was certainly a fiesta. Granted, we were also trying to figure out how Wild Warriors played because we didn't really know anything about them coming into this game. Outside of like the one interaction that
Uh-oh.
they not to. But regardless, as Brissy already iterated, and as well as you, having our top and mid being super strong compared to the rest of the team was definitely the main reason why we pulled ahead from that. Uh, Brissy does deserve the gas up for getting the last catch on, mid lane for Varus, because he was kind of the whole thing, or he was kind of the whole point that team was still alive at that point. But I'll also rewind it a little bit back to when we caught Malphite in the jungle and he charged his R. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, Brissy.
Did what? I'm sorry?
You charged up your ulti as we were catching Malphite.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I was under the impression that when Malphite was being pulled back into that choke point, that my ult was going to bypass him and hit the Varus that was right behind him. But the Skarner ult immediately stopped as soon as it got into the choke point, and then Malphite was saved back into their base. I was awful, dude. I was so upset with myself at that point.
Yeah. For future reference, it will still hit him and stop at him. It
Yeah,
doesn't make it
yeah.
untargetable.
Well, no, I thought that he was going to be continue to be pulled into
Oh, I see
the
what you mean.
jungle, but
Yeah.
he wasn't pulled any further.
Yeah. But besides that, I think some of them noticed I did buy a QSS because I was kept getting ulted by Malzahar and Varus, and I was getting really sick of it. So there are times where I got Mal's ult and I just pressed QSS, and he was like really shocked about it. But
I actually did notice that. I was in like one fight in particular, just in the bot lane. I was like, Malzahar, oh, wait, he's moving? What happened? And then I saw something was on cooldown. I was like, oh.
yeah, I got sick of
Oh.
being Mal's ulted for the fourth time in a row. But no, Blobfish or Blobfish, insane pickup. If he's still around and someone needs a around Emerald jungle sub, take him. He is so freaking good at the game. Uh, Also, this game kind of also highlights that Skarner is stupid, and all junglers should be picking this champion up because it is going to continue to be stupid.
True.
True.
Game two, all I can really say is I hate lane swaps, and I think they're really annoying, but I understand it. Baratel did say that the reason for the lane swap was not because they thought Sion had a bad lane, but they thought that Tristana and Rakan wouldn't be able to pop off as hard against the Corki Lulu. This was coming from Baratel himself, so spoilers. But regardless, I think they didn't play. They didn't expect the way the result of the lane swap happened because at the end of the day, Jason still got fed and I still got gold, even if I was up behind a bit. We'll exclude Brissy getting continuously focused because he's the little green thing. But yeah, no, I think Wawa Warriors definitely wanted to try something a little different there. I don't know if they had lane swaps previously in a
They
different
have.
series. Okay. Uh, I think they knew what they were gonna do. They just didn't know what to do with the result afterwards. Uh, I do think our team could have ended that game a lot faster if we didn't run it down mid like 3 times in a row, because uh,
Yep.
the Vex and Tristana can hit everyone from super far, and if we don't have Mild or Vile, we can't reach them. So there are plenty of instances where we try to force something and we don't have anything to get onto them. Uh, Game three, I'm going to take the blame for this one because I was talking to later with Neversaw, and the draft I set for these guys on our team was so abysmal because we knew Morn could play Talia, but we banned it our R4 the last game. And because of that, we left the Talia open while we drafted a Mumu. We also... What's up?
Well, you're good.
Okay. Uh, we also left up Milio because I don't know why. I saw some of the game results and I thought Cypher was also a like Leona Nautilus player
Mm-hmm.
and they'd be able to play like these heavy engage tanks. So I kind of disregarded any of their enchanters besides Lulu and they picked Milio. Uh, I don't know who called for the Maokai call. I should not have listened to it because Evie was yelling at me later after that game. She was saying, "Why would you ever want to self counter pick yourself by picking Maokai into any of their team?" So yeah, that's on me for not having enough game knowledge there. I also shouldn't have picked the Darius because oh my god, you couldn't have heard the comms for it because both of our POVs are muted. But I remember picking Darius, and everyone was like, "Oh, I don't think you guys, or I don't think you can reach the Jinx at all." I was so confident that I thought I could get or win the lane against Baratil hard enough where that didn't matter. It turns out that did matter, and I could not touch Asriel at all. Uh,
No one could.
yeah, and I will mention the fight that Brissia highlighted earlier against, like the very last fight, basically, where we hit the 5-man Seraphine ult. Uh, because Milio gave to Nasi, which I didn't know about that. Not only did he buff for the Seraphine ult for everyone else, but Amumu did land a 4-man ult afterwards, and I thought I had enough time to reach the Jinx. Turns out, because of the 60% tenacity it gives, I only had a quarter of a second to basically reach the Jinx, and I didn't. So
Yep.
I couldn't reach her in time with Ghost Flash. I couldn't Stride Breaker her, and by the only person in range was MHD and Lissandra, and he just pressed ult and Sanya's, and I'm just sitting there like a stupid looking animal.
Yeah.
Uh,
there were some abysmal plays from me and Kittler as well in that game.
don't go
So
in,
you
guys,
can't-
please.
Don't take. Well, no, that was game 4. If we
Oh, was
want to
that
talk
game
about
4?
if we want to
Okay.
talk about a Kittler play, that was game 4.
Oh my god, dude. Uh, I don't even want to.
That was actually hilarious.
You can talk about that more because I kind of freaking phased that on my mind.
Me and Jason, we're just chilling in mid lane, trying to get mid pressure before we. Well, I don't think there was an objective on the map at the time, but Kittler comes down through Topside River, back behind the bush, like by the Raptors, and I think Acerol and it's probably Sifra as well under tower. And we're like, oh no, we can't look here. Don't look here. We can't. There's no point. We have nothing to play for. Like it's way too risky. So Kittler's like, okay, fine. Starts walking down toward us in mid lane, and the second Astral takes one step forward, Kittler immediately turns around, goes to Warwick ult, gets CC locked instantly, and I'm like, okay, well, no, let me see if I can salvage this a little bit. So I W to him, and then we both die. And it's just like, okay, well, Jason's literally screaming, "Don't do this! Don't do this!" Kittler's like, "Okay," and then he does it. It's just like, what in the world, dude?
This sounds like Loco, actually, Loco Poco, because he constantly does that in like scripts. He's like, "Can I fight here?" And Sprinkler's like, "No," and by the time
And he fights.
yeah, and by the time he says no, he's like, "Oh, sorry, I'm already in the enemy backline already."
It's so funny, dude.
Yeah, them.
If we would have lost that game,
uh,
Jason probably would have killed Kittler. Just IRL, he would have killed him.
Yeah, I mean, I think Game 4 was fun. Veritel got his solo kill. I can't use old man hands against him because he is very much my senior, so I'm going to use the excuse of cold hands in Michigan as the reason why I couldn't
Not good enough.
outplay that.
Not good
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
You got outplayed.
Yeah, you know, I'm washed, guys, all right? I freaking belong in a McDonald's workplace. I'm washing all the dishes for closing, all right?
You don't want to do that. That sucks.
I already done that.
Me too.
But yeah, I think
was
our
our
series
series.
is a fun one.
I agree.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I think with that we go on to our next game. My personal favorite game. series. Game of the week streamed on the Summit Twitch.tv. And game 1, listen, all I'm saying, it was our warm-up game, okay? It was our warm-up game, okay? We unfortunately lose very hard because Loon and Big Dummy just have a really big lead. Just bad comms overall. I think just kind of like a poor play all around from everyone on the team. We just didn't have a super great game. And then, start of game 2 in drafts, we kind of just were like theorizing of like what different we could do. And I think the first thing we did is we decided, hey, X-Ray needs to be on some carry-esque champion because he's better than VLN, and that's what Sprinkler said. So what does he do?
Can we get an audio proof of this?
You can't. Partially because he wasn't streaming.
Unlucky.
So we first pick Urgot and Ari on red side. And I think they respond with like Maokai something else, or I don't really know. But they first pick Jinx again. And Sprinkler's J4, very, very scary. Super good, was around the map making plays. I'm playing Sniper Elite. I'm sniping people left and right. My first snipe was VLN under his tower, not expecting me to hit 6, and then I walk out of vision and snipe him. And then my other one was probably the better one, and I sniped Evaps. He thought he was out, and then I come out of left field and hit him and pull him to get a really big shutdown because he was like 4-1 with like a 300 gold shutdown, so it was really big for me. 1,000 just had a really big early lead in the jungle and the bot lane, but with some really good team fights, Thim was just able to get some gold, got a really big shutdown on Loon in the bot lane, and he's playing Draven, which was super fun to see. And Draven, is Draven. He gets like 2 items, and he all of a sudden is Exodia. But yeah, honestly, really good plays by Sprinkler's Tinklers, able to pick up the win, tie back up. And then game 3, more of a one-sided game from Sprinkler's Tinklers. Evaps picks Gwen. And, we thought it was actually going to be Evaps top. That's why we saved last pick for me. They decided to go with VLN back on the Maokai duty. And just X-Ray Raid Boss. I survive a 3v1 that turns into a 1v5 for 35 seconds. I did count it. Gar can attest to it because that fight was super crazy. And it's funny because I didn't even have Jack Show. I think if I have Jack Show, that fight is so funny. I don't think I actually die. And then Sprinklers Tinklers, we just have really good macro. I mean, while everyone's bot lane, my team is getting Baron. By the way, in that 35 seconds, my team takes Baron, backs, and is back on the map by the time I'm dead. Which was
nice.
Just a crazy whole situation. And then once again, Sprinkler picks J4, Loon picks Jinx, just able to abuse that really well. Just really good plays by everyone on the map. Game 4, this game was so painful to play. First off, Set, VLN picks his signature champion Set. And we thought we were hyping up Set versus Urgot, the best versus the best. And what do they do in Champion Select? They ban Urgot. It was so cringe. I was so upset.
They really didn't want to see it, I guess.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's so cringe. And, listen, I was upset, and I wanted to call off the bet, but, I stuck to it, stuck to my word. But yeah, it was just a super painful game. I don't really want to talk about a whole lot of the fights just because it was so crazy. But it was a 53-minute game, 97 kills in total. Both teams at the end of the game had over 100k gold. The total was 206.6 thousand gold, and there were 7 drakes taken, 4 barons, 21 towers, and 6 scrubs were taken in the 53-minute game. There was 1 tower that didn't get taken, and I think if I'm remembering correctly, it was like 14 inhibitors were taken in total from all teams. They basically, what happened is VLN was so far behind that he built Hullbreaker and just ran it down. Even if he died, he took a tower with him or an inhibitor or whatever. They triple inhibited us, like, I think twice, and yeah, it was just a really, really painful game to play. But I think the other thing to talk about is just the last team fight, which was super crazy that we won it in general. They have who did we play against again? I forgot. 1,000 Year Dynasty. They had Baron buff. They had Baron buff and Elder buff, and we're triple inhibited. So the game is just looking bleak. We have 1 tower. You know, we're thinking, okay, we started thinking about next game. We're able to stop it, like, stagger it a little bit. They try to fight, and we're able to clean it up, and 3 of us survive, or sorry, 4 of us survive. They only kill 1 of us. They have Baron and Elder, and somehow we win the game. We win the team fight, push down mid, and end the game.
That's pretty insane.
It was...
Yeah.
Gar can go more in depth to it because he actually had, like, the spectator view. I'm just having the Olaf view. Somehow I didn't die, by the way. Callista's crazy champion. But yeah, I don't really want to talk a whole lot about Game Forge because there's so much to talk about in a 53-minute game. But overall, I think 1,000 Year Dynasty, fun series. VLN, if anyone didn't know, VLN did not solo kill me. Still the Solo Bolo King. Still got the crown. So
He was very close to.
He was a couple times. The level 3 play in the top lane. He definitely tried, but unfortunately unable to get it. But I think with that, Brissy, just your thoughts, and then we'll head it over to Gar.
I didn't watch the series. I'm sorry.
All right, what's your general thoughts about these two teams?
I really like 1,000 Year Dynasty. This was my most. I thought this game was going to be the closest out of all of the games this week.
I thought it was just gonna. I thought this was actually the only 3-0 game. I thought every other game was gonna go like 3-1 or 4 games or 5 games. This one, I thought it was gonna go to 3 games.
Why? Okay, can I ask you why you thought that?
I just think we were better, and because if we don't talk about game 1, right? We played that whole series.
If you don't talk about the one game that you lost, if
yes.
you talk about the rest.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, let me cover up the bad parts, and I'll talk about all the good parts. That's why we should have 3-0'd.
Yes. No.
If we could ignore our game 3, we should have 3-0'd them.
If we don't play game 3, we 3-0 that team for sure.
The only reason I say that is because I think Thim and Ender are a lot better than people think. And
I agree.
And I think these last 3 games, game 2, 3, 4, I think really showed that. Like Thim and Ender are good, and they kind of neutralized Loon and Big Dummy in the bot lane. And then Sprinkler, I mean, I think Evaps is good, and he has played really solid the whole season. But I think Sprinkler just clears every jungler.
But we knew that about Sprinkler.
Yeah, we knew that about Sprinkler. And then our solo lanes. I mean, Loco versus Flash of Night. No discredit to Flash of Night, but he is not the player he was like 3 seasons ago. He is not that Azir one-trick player.
Washed.
And
if Azir was any better, he might pick it.
I just don't think he's the same player. Granted, he had a couple good plays. I'll give him credit, but he's just not. I just don't think he's the same player as he was a couple seasons ago. And And then
Yeah.
top lane, I mean, not to butter my biscuit or anything like that, but I'm better than VLN.
I mean,
I won't
can't
argue with that.
can't argue after the performance. Well, okay. Well, with that aside, I thought Thousand Year Dynasty had some really good, excuse me, really good games toward the end of the season. It looked like they were kind of leveling up a little bit. It seemed like Big Dummy was taking a little bit more control of their team toward the end of the season.
Yep.
But yeah, I think Sprinklers Tinklers, they have kind of just been pretty dominant all majority of the season. They've shown some weaknesses throughout, but when you throw both of these teams into a 5-game series, it's hard to say that Sprinklers Tinklers doesn't come out on top when you have that many games to decide it. And I think that goes for a lot of the better teams this season. I guess when you talk about better teams, I think this is the most balanced season that there's ever been in Summit. But there's definitely teams that have the determination and, I guess, mental strength to fight through that much, especially if you're playing League for almost 4 or 5 hours. And so I think that for the rest of playoffs, the teams that are still in it, I think that just shows the strength of those teams. And when you break down role matchups and strength of teams, I think Sprinklers Tinklers is one of the strongest.
So I also want to just point out real quick.
Yep.
Dean was like, I saw it in general chat, and he was like, "What's the over under for how many teams for Pool B make it out of the first round?"
I said 2 and 2.
2 and 2. Well, it's 3 and 1 for the side of Pool A.
I mean,
And
Pool A dominance is showing.
Quarterfinals should just be renamed to 3 and 1 with how this turned out.
Yes,
man.
it was. That's what I said. It's like every series was 3 and 1, which was so crazy to me that it shaped out to be like that.
I don't know, man. I mean, I talked about it earlier. I think Elo Surfers has the capacity to take a deeper run in playoffs, especially against RNC. I think that both those teams match up really well. But I think that there are some edges that go to Elo Surfers' favor. So we'll just have to see how it all works out.
For sure. All right, Gar, you were actually casting this game, so
Dude, holy.
let's hear your thoughts on the games in the series.
I'm gonna be honest, this game kind of got blurred out in my head because I was looking at the time the entire time, and I was like, please don't make it a game 5, because I do not want to be casting until like a 1:30 in the morning. But no, I think this series, besides top lane, which congratulations, X-Ray, I do think you were the much better top laner this series.
Thank you.
I feel like this kind of was decided based on how much impact the junglers had on their strong side lanes, and we kind of see that like Sprinkler and SK Evabs were both super high in terms of like KP overall, but you can see where that leads to, where because Sprinkler never has to worry about top lane and Evabs can't really gank the top lane, that you're always going to be in a man up in terms of like who's stronger in a fight. And I feel like that kind of was determined a lot, especially during game 2 with the Maokai versus Urgot game. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I really thought 1K Your Dynasty was gonna win that game, and then you show up, get like a 4-man fear in Drake River, and just absolutely turn the fight. And also, Them got his cash out, which no Thimmy, no Winnie, and he got his freaking money.
Dude, I like, so the comms wise, like, we're like, okay, I'm strong, I know that, so I'm like, okay, what can I do to kind of like help get the team back in and everything like that. And then that bot lane play happened. Loon is they killed Big Dummy, and Loon is kind of like on the edge. It's like he either kills someone else, or he kills Ender and gets a trade, or he dies to, I think, Sprinkler at the time, or Loco. So
Right.
he tries to kill Ender, then flashes and gets the cash out. And at that point, I knew it was like, okay, I think we won this game. Like,
I'm pretty sure I wasn't screaming on the cat or on the caster bench, but I definitely called it out. Like, them got his cash out. They're gonna win now.
that's
But
crazy.
yeah, I will say though, 1K Dynasty did do pull it back from like a super like gloomy early game. Uh, because there was this entire fight that happened bot lane that was spearheaded by Big Dummy's Vel'Koz, which God bless, his Vel'Koz is actually really
That
good.
was game one.
Yeah, I'm talking about game one.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
Uh,
game two.
I'd listen, all right? I skipped ahead because I want to freaking do the initial glaze and then I want to go throughout
Okay.
the entire series.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, but like 1K Dynasty looks like they were kind of leaking game one, but this entire bot fight happens for like the next 2 minutes, like right before the second, no, right after the first dragon, I think. I don't remember. It was some time during that point, but you guys or 1K Dynasty destroys the tower with some of you guys under it, and you were super low. And because Evap's rotates to this fight early on, Loyton ends up with like a substantial lead. He got his excited, he got his lethal tempo stacked up, and he ends up like 4-0 from just being like 0-0 the entire game. So that Jinx getting a super fast jump start definitely snowballed into the results of the game that happened. But I think your team starts noticing that though, because you put way more priority in trying to get your strong sides ahead and then allowing everyone on your team to, pile in with them. Like you can definitely see that with game two with you playing around team fights and making sure that them get some of these cash outs with your substantial lead. You also got the Black Cleaver, so that boosts his damage. Uh, Game three was, you were super strong on the Mordekaiser. You soaked so much damage, like as you were talking about in that freaking fight. That was so fun to watch, by the way. Just seeing you freaking actually 1v5. You didn't win the 1v5, but you
I
lasted
didn't.
long enough. You lasted long enough for your team to go to Baron and clear it and back. And yeah,
Dude,
it's like,
it's so funny. Imagine if I had Jack Show, because I was building it, and I think I had
yeah,
enough.
I think you had the belts and the MR
No,
though.
I had the vest. I didn't have the MR, but I think if I have a
Oh,
complete
I thought you
Jack
had the
Show,
best. Okay.
if I have the
Or
complete
the
Jack
cloak.
Show, I don't know. I don't know how that. I think I last even longer. Maybe a minute. We'll see.
Pause.
Pause?
Pause.
No, you're good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
Keep going.
Okay. But I will say I shouted him out on the stream already. I want to shout out Loco again. Just like he is a freaking psycho. Like you already talked about. He will freaking ask for a call, gets talked out of it, and still goes in. But game three and four was like his probably most defining moment as a mid laner this entire season.
Yeah, I agree.
Like he was going crazy on the Silas, and he was also going crazy on the Ari. And I think if he played any worse compared to what he did those 2 games, I feel like the games would have been significantly harder.
I think yeah, Loco in game four specifically. I think he had a third of the kills. I'm pretty sure he had like I think he had 21 kills. I think, and it was like we had 63. I think so. He had a third of the kills on our
Yeah,
team.
he went 21, 11, and 17.
Yeah, so he was pretty strong, and I think he knew it. And there were definitely plays where I'm like, man, Loco, we don't need to go in, and then he goes in and just it works, and I'm like, okay, uh, whatever. Um,
I think Giuseppe definitely put it down well. I think it was earlier this morning where it was basically GFC when talking to each other is basically us talking to a brick wall.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I, oh God, game four was such a pain freaking cast, dude. Why did it take so long? It was super funny because I think after the fourth or fifth death VLN had, he just started running it with the hull breaker. And I honestly thought he would have pulled a freaking TL versus FlyQuest against you guys
Dude,
and win
it
with the
was.
supers.
I no joke. I spent at least 15 to 20 minutes just in the base clearing super minions. I, I didn't even participate in any team fights. I'm just clearing the base for about 15 to 20 minutes before we
You guys
actually.
blue side or red side?
We were blue.
Okay.
We were red game 1, 2, and 3, and they selected red on game 4. So
No, that's exactly what happened in our series. We were red side 3 games and then went blue 4th game.
They kept choosing blue, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
um,
Uh, yeah, that's basically all I had to say. It was tragic that they still lost with Baron and Elder because I'm gonna say it, VLN freaking started the fight with like 40% HP and he got one shot because all he has is HP items. So
yeah. Well,
it was certainly a very tense game, but
yeah.
I think it was still a fun series.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It's game. If we could like make game 4 just a little bit shorter next time, I think. I think we're having a good time, sort of thing. um, but I think with that, let's go on to our predictions real quick. Just talk about the 2 games. Um, so starting off, Rookies and Cream versus Elo Surfers. 4 of us going with the Elo Surfers, and oh, hang on, wait, hold up. I did an oopsie because I'm
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
fairly certain Array did not pick Ela Surfers. Okay, yep, I'm right. Please hold as I make a change. It isn't the climb if it's not scuffed.
Whoa, just because
True.
I voted against our team, you think everyone votes against our team? That's
No,
crazy.
it was just Array.
I think you voting against our team is crazy.
Yeah. Well, hang on. We'll get to that one in a
I'm in
second.
shambles right now, bro.
Everyone. I mean, 3 of us going with Elo Surfers. Venom, an Elo Surfer enjoyer. He's adamant about it. So, and then Rookies and Cream. You know, I'm not too surprised, but I think with them not playing for 3 weeks, maybe they've been playing on the side and everything like that. They've been screaming, playing custom or not customs, flex, you know, all that kind of stuff. But I think just Eel Surfers are better, and I think it's gonna be a true test for Array. You know, will Array be able to continue doing what he's done in the mid lane versus Gumby? So I'm interested to
Yeah.
see.
I think the strength of Rookies and Cream is in their mid jungle combo, and the strength of Elo Surfers is in their mid jungle combo. But I think the edge goes to the GM mid laner, and I guess kind of depending how bot lane goes, I think that
Yeah,
that kind of pushes it over to the side of Elo Surfers for me at least.
I would definitely say in that one, I definitely would say Rookies and Cream is favored. But I'm actually pretty interested to see how this game goes because it's gonna be Patchstick and ISO because
Mm-hmm.
these two players, you know, they haven't really we haven't really they're weak side top laners sort of thing. You know, Patchstick plays the Ornn. And the Malphite, all that kind of stuff, and then ISO is kind of in the same boat. He just plays Singed and Zac. So
Does he
Yeah.
do
see.
Elo Surfers ban the Ornn? Is the question. Do they ban it?
Uh I would ban it if I was them, but I'm not them, so we'll see.
I just feel like there was so many series this season where
Ban Ornn.
Patstick had already shown himself as like a really good Ornn player, and then nobody ever banned it. Like nobody banned it
Yeah,
ever.
there's a lot of games like that. So, and then our last series, Sprinklers Tinklers versus GFC, and I mean I'm actually kind of surprised. Actually, a lot more GFCs than I was thinking. I mean I'm biased, of course, but Gar, tell me about the Sprinklers Tinklers pick. Don't
You
believe in
know
your
how
team?
like like those flashbacks people get when something traumatic happens and it's starting to come back up. I don't
Oh,
know.
you mean dodging an axe?
Mhm.
Your Olaf is getting banned if I have the option for it, man.
Please triple
do
fan me. Please triple fan me. It's gonna be
No,
so
I would
funny.
never give you that. I will never give you that satisfaction.
By the way, that's happened in scrims before. They've just triple banned me for some reason, and I'm like, what? Huh?
Who would the third ban be for you, Orn?
I don't know. Urgot, Olaf.
Urgot, Olaf.
Yeah, Orn, Cassante. I don't know. Whatever you want.
Oh
Well,
shoot, you do
can-
play Cassante.
You could play Cassante.
Yeah, play the
That's
Cassante.
okay.
No.
What do you mean no?
No, I'm gonna pick.
No.
I'm gonna blind Mordekaiser versus you.
Oh, you're gonna play that side of the matchup? Okay.
But
We're not putting Gar on Olaf. Don't worry.
but yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with the GFC picks, but I think it's very interesting. I'm glad to know we're seen as the underdogs going into this matchup.
I mean, you guys 2-0'd us last time, didn't you?
Yeah.
They 2-0'd us, but we two. Here's the whole weird triangle between us is that we got 2-0'd by Sprinklers Tinklers, and then we got 2-1 by Summit Admins. Sprinklers Tinklers 2-0'd us, but got 2-0'd by Summit Admins. So,
But where's some admins?
Didn't POF also beat Sprinklers Tinklers?
No.
Or you guys didn't play.
We only lost to Summit Admins. We beat every other match.
Gotcha.
So
yeah.
We went 2-1 in our first two games, and then we 2-0'd the rest of our games besides the Summit Admins, where we went 0-2. So.
Yeah, I had no idea where I was going with that point. I'm gonna be real. I'm just making excuses for why I chose Tinklers over us. But
the question is can we play any worse than we played our first series against them?
It's basically if we haven't figured out how to, level up from that experience, then we're screwed. But if somehow all the stars align and the Charles and me finally being in semifinals buff comes into fruition, there's a chance we can be in finals, and
you think I'm gonna let that happen?
You?
Yeah, you think I'm gonna let that happen?
I don't think Sprinkler.
Yeah, you think Sprinkler?
You might.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gar, you want to run it back? Mordekaiser versus Olaf?
Hell no. I learned the hard way that my R is completely useless in your champion.
Listen, all I'll say is this, okay? This is a little bit of a stare down sort of thing. I think Gar's good, and I think he's coming into this match more prepared than he was the first time we met around. Gar, I'm in Gar's head. Ever since that first solo kill as Olaf, he's kind of scared now. So I'm interested to see. I'm giving Gar the respect still. So I'm excited to play against him again. And
I think we're just gonna 5-ban Thim instead.
You're gonna 5-ban Thim?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, buddy. Lock your doors. Lock your doors. All right, lock your doors.
This guy pulled out a Nerf gun. Ain't no way we're serious.
Yo, you want to go? I got a sword. I'm ready.
I'm ready. Sword,
I'm ready.
What is happening?
Yo, let's go, baby. We got swords.
Let's go, swords.
Oh my god, dude.
I can't put it back together.
I don't have a sword.
Oh, dude. We gotta get you one.
We gotta get. Brissy's next. If I lose next season, I'll get Brissy a sword.
Hey, sweetheart, I want a sword for Christmas. All right, it's locked in. We'll have a sword by
Let's
Christmas.
go, baby.
Let's go. But yeah, I think with that, hang on, Guard. Do you have anything for the stare down? Just shared my thoughts.
Pulled out a fucking Nerf gun and a sword.
Pulled out my freaking gun and sword. I got nothing else.
He said be ready. Okay. All right. I think with that, that's gonna end this episode of The Climb. Thank you, Gar and Brissy, for joining me once again this week. Excited to be here. I'm your host, X-Ray, and we'll catch you next week for the semifinal matches.
Deuces.